Folks, you've probably never thought about this, but there's a mind-blowing difference between how Americans and Europeans build their buses. What I'm about to show you will completely change how you see public transportation forever. Now, before we dive deep into this fascinating world of engineering differences, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You're going to want to see more content like this. Here's what's going to shock you most. It's not just about size or color. We're talking about completely different philosophies of design that go back decades. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your local city bus looks nothing like the ones rolling through London or Berlin. Let me start with something you can see immediately when you look at any American bus versus a European one. The nose. That's right. The front end of these machines tells a completely different story. Walk up to any American school bus or long-distance coach, and what do you see? A long, prominent nose sticking out in front, just like a big rig truck. Companies like Bluebird, Thomas Built, and IC Bus have been building them this way for generations. But why? Well, folks, it comes down to two critical factors that American engineers prioritized from day one. First, safety in collisions. That extended nose isn't just for looks. It's a massive crumple zone. When something goes wrong and there's a frontal impact, that long nose absorbs the energy before it ever reaches the driver or passengers. It's like having a built-in safety buffer. Second reason, maintenance accessibility. With the engine mounted right up front, any mechanic can pop the hood and work on it without crawling underneath a massive vehicle. For fleet operators running hundreds of buses, this means faster repairs and lower labor costs. Now flip over to Europe and you'll see something completely different. Flat faces, compact designs, engines tucked away in the back. Mercedes-Benz, MAN, Volvo, Scania, all the major European manufacturers follow this rear-engine philosophy. But this isn't just a stylistic choice. European cities were built centuries before anyone dreamed of motor vehicles. Streets are narrow, turning radiuses are tight, and every inch of space matters. By putting the engine in the rear, European engineers can dedicate the entire length of the vehicle to passengers. Plus, there's an unexpected benefit: noise reduction. With the engine way back there, passengers get a much quieter ride. The driver isn't sitting right on top of a rumbling diesel engine. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this might surprise you even more than the nose difference. Let's talk about two of the most iconic bus designs on the planet. American school buses haven't fundamentally changed their design in nearly 100 years. That bright yellow, high-riding, long-nosed design is as American as apple pie. And there's a reason it stayed the same. It works perfectly for its intended purpose. Those school buses prioritize child safety above absolutely everything else. The high ground clearance means kids can't get trapped underneath if they fall. The bright yellow paint isn't just tradition, it's scientifically proven to be the most visible color in all lighting conditions. And those flashing red lights, they legally stop traffic in both directions. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, London's double-decker buses became legendary for solving a completely different problem. Instead of making buses longer to carry more people, British engineers made them taller. These red giants can pack up to 80 passengers while still navigating narrow city streets that were designed for horse-drawn carriages. Now let's get under the hood and talk about what really makes these machines move. American buses typically run on large, high-torque diesel engines built by companies like Cummins, Caterpillar, and Detroit Diesel. These power plants are designed for one thing: longevity. We're talking engines that routinely hit 500,000 miles, and some even cross the million-mile mark. European manufacturers took a completely different approach. Stricter environmental regulations forced them to develop smaller, turbocharged engines that balance power with efficiency. And here's something that might shock you. European cities have been way ahead of the curve on electric buses, while American transit agencies are just starting to experiment with electric fleets. A typical American school bus seats 40 to 50 students, while city transit buses accommodate 30 to 40 seated passengers, but can pack in many more standing riders. Long-distance coaches like Greyhound typically offer 50 to 60 comfortable seats for cross-country travel. European buses flip this equation. City buses might only have 20 to 30 seats, but they're designed to handle large numbers of standing passengers during rush hour. It's all about maximizing efficiency in dense urban environments. Remember those double-deckers I mentioned? They can seat up to 80 people, making them incredibly efficient for busy city routes. That's nearly double the capacity of a standard American city bus. But here's what really drives all these differences: regulations and infrastructure. And this is where it gets really interesting for anyone who appreciates engineering challenges. American highways are massive. We're talking about road systems designed from the ground up for large vehicles. Interstate highways with gentle curves, wide lanes, and long sight lines. This infrastructure allows buses to be bigger, heavier, and longer without major operational issues. Europe presents completely different challenges. Roads that were originally built for medieval towns, strict weight limits, and incredibly tight emission standards. European buses are typically limited to 40,000 to 55,000 pounds, depending on the country and type of service. This is why you see those articulated accordion-style buses in European cities. The turning radius requirements alone force European manufacturers to design completely different vehicles. A bus that can't navigate a tight medieval street corner is useless in cities like Prague or Barcelona. Here's something else that might surprise you. The maintenance philosophies are completely different. American buses are designed for high mileage, long-term operation with periodic major overhauls. European buses are often designed for more frequent replacement cycles, but with lower day-to-day maintenance requirements. American operators might run the same bus for 20 or 30 years, rebuilding the engine and transmission multiple times. European operators often replace entire fleets every 10 to 15 years, taking advantage of the latest efficiency and emissions technology. Now, let's talk about comfort and passenger experience. American long-distance coaches prioritize individual passenger comfort for multi-hour journeys. European city buses prioritize quick boarding and alighting for short urban trips. Wide doors, low floors, and open interior layouts that allow rapid passenger flow during rush hour stops. American buses often have powerful air conditioning systems designed to handle extreme temperature variations across different climate zones. European buses focus more on efficient heating systems and natural ventilation for milder, more consistent climates. The door systems tell another story. American school buses use that distinctive folding door system that creates a wide opening for safe student boarding. European city buses often have multiple wide doors with level boarding platforms for wheelchair accessibility and rapid passenger flow. American buses have extensive mirror systems designed for highway safety and student monitoring. European buses increasingly use camera systems and proximity sensors for navigating tight urban spaces. So here's the big question that's probably on your mind. Which approach is actually better? Well, folks, that depends entirely on what you're trying to accomplish. If you need a vehicle that can reliably transport people across vast distances, handle extreme weather conditions, and operate for decades with minimal replacement, the American approach is hard to beat. Those big, durable, long-nosed coaches are purpose-built for the American transportation environment. If you need maximum efficiency in dense urban environments, environmental friendliness, and cutting-edge technology integration, European designs lead the way. Those compact, maneuverable, clean-burning buses are perfectly adapted to European cities and regulations. American buses are optimized for American conditions, and European buses are optimized for European conditions. The American school bus would be completely impractical on narrow European streets, while a European city bus wouldn't have the durability for cross-country American routes. It's a perfect example of form following function in engineering design. What we've discovered today is that these aren't just different ways of building buses. They're completely different philosophies of transportation that reflect the unique needs, regulations, and cultures of their respective continents. The next time you see a bus, whether it's a bright yellow school bus in your neighborhood or a sleek city bus downtown, take a moment to appreciate the incredible engineering decisions that went into its design. Every single feature, from the nose length to the engine placement to the seating arrangement, represents decades of refinement for specific operating conditions. These machines aren't just boxes on wheels, they're sophisticated solutions to complex transportation challenges, shaped by geography, regulation, culture, and engineering tradition. Remember this: great engineering isn't about building the biggest or the fanciest. It's about building exactly what's needed for the job at hand. And folks, if you found this deep dive into transportation engineering as fascinating as I did, make sure you subscribe for more content that reveals the hidden engineering stories all around us.